What is up, guys? Joe here, back with another video. Today is Thursday, November 18th, 2021, and Apple is up over 2% for the day. Apple is rallying on an exclusive report from Bloomberg reporting that they are really ramping up their autonomous Apple car production and suiting up for a release as soon as possible. So if you don't know, Apple's biggest open secret currently is that they are developing their own autonomous electric vehicle to compete with Tesla, Rivian, Lucid, and all the other EV car makers. They're investing billions of dollars into this project and are betting big that this will be the future of autonomous driving. So today I wanted to look at some headlines, do some technical analysis, and make a buy recommendation for this name. So let's get started. So if we jump over to FinViz, there are a couple of headlines moving the stock higher. Apple aims to get a fully driverless car on the road. Apple's electric car could debut as soon as 2025, Bloomberg News. Apple accelerates work on car project aiming for fully autonomous vehicle. Apple is pushing to accelerate development of its first electric car and refocusing the project around full self-driving capabilities, according to people familiar with the matter, aiming to solve a technical challenge that has bedeviled the auto industry. For the past several years, Apple's car team had explored two simultaneous paths: creating a model with limited self-driving capabilities focused on steering and acceleration, similar to many current cars, or a version with full self-driving ability that doesn't require human intervention. Under the effort's new leader, Apple Watch software executive Kevin Lynch, engineers are now concentrating on the second option. Lynch is pushing for a car with full self-driving system in the first version, said the people, who asked not to be identified because of the deliberations are private. It's just the latest shift for the car effort known as Special Projects Group or Project Titan, which has endured strategy changes and executive turnover since starting around 2014. In September, the former head of the team, Doug Field, left for a job at Ford Motor Company after 3 years in charge. In picking Lynch as his replacement, Apple went with an internal executive who isn't a car veteran. In trying to master self-driving cars, Apple is chasing the holy grail within the industry. Tech and auto giants have spent years on autonomous vehicles, but the capabilities have remained elusive. Tesla Inc., the market leader in electric vehicles, is still probably years away from offering fully autonomous vehicles. Alphabet Inc.'s Waymo has suffered a rash of departures in its efforts to develop the technology, and Uber Technologies agreed to sell off its autonomous self-driving division last year. Apple is internally targeting a launch of its self-driving car in 4 years, faster than the 5 to 7 year timeline that some engineers had been planning for earlier this year. But the timing is fluid, and hitting that 2025 target is dependent on the company's ability to complete the self-driving system, an ambitious task on that schedule. If Apple is unable to reach its goal, it could either delay a release or initially sell a car with lesser technology. Apple's ideal car would have no steering wheel and pedals, and its interior would be designed around hands-off driving. One option discussed inside the company features an interior similar to the one in the lifestyle vehicle from Canoo Inc., an upstart in the EV industry. In that car, passengers sit along the sides of the vehicle and face each other like they would in a limousine. Apple has also explored designs where the car's infotainment system, likely a large iPad-like touchscreen, would be in the middle of the vehicle, letting users interact with it throughout the ride. The car would also be heavily integrated with Apple's existing services and devices. Though the company is pushing to not have a standard steering wheel, Apple has discussed equipping the car with an emergency takeover mode. The Apple Car Chip is the most advanced component that Apple has developed internally and is made up of primarily neural processors that can handle the artificial intelligence needed for autonomous driving. The chip's capabilities mean it would run hot and likely require the development of a sophisticated cooling system. The hope is to develop a vehicle that can spare customers from driving fatigue when they're on long trips. But building an actual car for an auto industry outsider like Apple would require partnership. The company has discussed deals with multiple manufacturers and has considered potentially building the vehicle in the US. Even with recent progress, creating a fully self-driving car by 2025 is seen as very aggressive within Apple. Some people within the Project Titan are skeptical about the timeline. So jumping back into FinViz, we do see that there were made a couple of analyst upgrades throughout the year. Cowen reiterated their outperform rating and gave it a price target of $180. JP Morgan reiterated their overweight rating and gave it a price target of $180. And Morgan Stanley gave an overweight rating with a price target of $168. So if we look at the weekly chart, we do notice back in March of 2021, there was a sell-off within Apple. But after that, we have recovered and traded higher ever since. We have been in this general uptrend. So this blue line running across would act as support, and this pink line above would act as ultimate resistance, and it was trading within this channel. And starting in September, we did see a descending wedge pattern forming here. The price action got tighter, the squeeze got tighter, and finally today it broke out with volume and pushed higher and posted all-time highs of over $157. So now we can look at it the same way within TradingView. Here's your daily chart. You can grab your trendline tool here. So your support was found down here. This would act as support, and above this would act as ultimate resistance. And as you can see, Apple was respecting the trend line. It would bounce off of support every time here, 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 and resistance above here got rejected. Over here it got rejected, and looking forward we could potentially get rejected here at the $162 to $163 mark. Now in terms of the descending wedge pattern forming, we did find more support the last few weeks here, and upper resistance was found here, and finally the squeeze got tighter and we had a breakout to the upside with volume. So now, in order to accurately predict where the stock could be headed next, we can draw some Fibonacci retracement zones in order to accurately plot future support and resistant trend lines. So what you want to do is zoom out here. Great, and grab your Fib retracement tool on the left hand side here and drop your first anchor at the lowest point of the stock, posted back in March of 2020, and your second anchor would be placed at the highest point of the stock, which is today, right there. And this dashed line running across would act as ultimate support. And like I mentioned earlier, we have been on this massive run higher since the low of March 2020. So now, generally speaking, we were trading in this range right here, and that's between the 78% retracement zone and the 100% retracement zone. So if we're able to break through today's all-time highs, we can push higher. So what you can do is zoom out here and view your Fibonacci extension zones, and these are simply extension levels from the pre-existing Fibonacci zones that plot future prices. So now, moving ahead, if we're able to break through and push to our next Fibonacci retracement zone, that would be a price target of 187 with 60 cents, and that's a 127% retracement zone. And if we're able to break through that, we would reach our 161% retracement zone, and that's a price target of 224 with 52 cents. So I do think we can reach that level eventually, but not in a straight line up. We will encounter volatility along the way. There are a ton of positive catalysts for Apple in the upcoming months, including new iPhone models and new Apple Watches and new software upgrade, and their iTunes and App Store revenue just keeps growing and growing. So with the addition of the Apple Car, Apple would be entering a whole new industry and taking on leaders such as Tesla, Ford, Volkswagen, and potentially Rivian. So now, if you were to ask me, is this a good time to buy? I would say wait for a minor dip in the stock, wait for at least a 5% correction before you enter into this name. There has been a lot of volatility recently, and we are reaching market all-time highs. So you want to be nimble, you want to be vigilant. I do think Apple is a strong name with strong lifelong potential. This is a name you want to buy and hold for years. It's not a name that you necessarily want to trade in and out on a daily basis. Apple has a healthy balance sheet, brand name recognition, and tons of partnerships that are hard to beat. So I would recommend this stock to anyone who's looking to buy and hold this name. But for any day trader, I would wait for a small dip in the stock. I would wait for the RSI down here to actually trend lower and get below the 80-point mark and maybe hit the 50-point mark for you to enter into this name. And lastly, if you notice here, if we turn on our volume profile, let me zoom in here, we do see that the point of control was at the $148 mark, and that's this red line running across. That's where the most action, the most volume was traded. And this is essentially a battle between the bears and the bulls trying to regain control, and the price action oscillated up and down between this point of control, and finally today it was able to break through and push to the upside. So anywhere between the $148 mark was the perfect entry point for you to get in. So what do you think about Apple's new car concept? Do you think it's going to be a success? Do you think it's going to be a flop? Let me know in the comment section. So I really hope you found this information helpful. If you have any question, please leave a question in the comment section. I'll be happy to respond. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.